I'm a mother of a 9-year-old.
I'm a psychologist and a mother of 2.
I'm a father of Vasav.
I have a 7-year-old.
I've been a sociologist, I've been an educator, but as parents, and I really want to say this,
I had to buy an iPad for my son. Now when it comes to social media, so there are benefits as well of social media, but unfortunately we live in times where the negatives outweigh the positives a lot more.
When we give access to kids and to social media, I feel then, we've put our kids on a bicycle, on a downhill, with they knowing how to ride down, but no brakes, I feel.
He's a social media influencer. He started his journey like a coder only, and he's done various certifications starting from Harvard to Google and a lot of them. Then we moved to creating content. So he's a content creator. He's got over 300,000 followers on Instagram.
My daughter learnt English more through Peppa Pig rather than her preschool or me teaching her. The play-based childhood has completely vanished.
unfortunately, this world is a reality. It has robbed children of, it is mostly an adult world. It's suited for adults. It has robbed children of spaces and opportunities and experiences.
Obviously, yes, you would see some negative comments. It is again a way how you embrace it, because today, tomorrow, later, you would get negative comments when you move into the real world. You will get to colleges, you will get ragging in the real world when we are in service. So how do you actually embrace it and stand by it and actually deliver? So all of this becomes part of the learning.
The world around us is changing. There is no denying that. There is no stopping that. How much ever we want for the world to slow down, for the technology to slow down, or our children to be technology free or screen free, it's almost impossible, let's face it. So we might as well embrace it in a regulated, moderated way.
Every issue has different sides. 3C brings them together, not to clash, but to listen. Real people sharing, understanding, finding common ground. Candid Constructive Conversations start here.
Hi. So I feel the first and the most obvious answer is no. Children should not be part of social media for as long as possible. But for the obvious reasons, we all well know that what it does to their mental health, to their attention span, focus, how much time they're spending indoors versus outdoors. Forget about their mental health. The amount of damage it's doing to adults, our parents' mental health. We all know the consequences. But the thing is, the possibility of not letting them be on social media completely. Is that a possibility? I really don't think so. I had to buy an iPad for my son when, during the lockdown, I think most of us, because of the online classes were going on, I was busy with my work, my husband was busy, we were all indoors, we had to buy an iPad. Now, there were many a times when he would toggle between the screens. And I had to do my household chores because there was literally no help, none whatsoever. So he would toggle between YouTube and his classes. And then of course I deleted and put it on restricted mode. But eventually what I think is they will outsmart us one day. They will. Having said that, yes, for as much as we can, we have to regulate it. We have to monitor them. But it becomes even more challenging for working parents who are not always around. When I'm away, I'm shooting, he's mostly in the hands of his grandparents, who also sometimes are not, around because they live in Ludhiana, where my hometown. And so mostly a nanny is there. And we know that they hardly listen to the nannies. Of course, now there is a way, I can be all paranoid and, not focus on my work. But then for how long can we sustain that? So we have to come up with certain trust in our children, and that communication, I feel that is very, very imperative. That how well you know your children, how comfortable they are communicating with you about what they feel, what they think, what they see on social media. How often do you have these conversations? Now, my son mostly spends time on YouTube because he was watching those tutorials. He loves sketching. He can sketch for hours. And he has amazing focus, and we just think that how a child can, spend so much time doing just one activity for so long. And he's mostly watching tutorials, but in between he's also toggling and taking a break, and sometimes he's watching some videos that might not be very much child appropriate, I would say. Although his YouTube is on restricted mode, we have tried everything that we possibly can to limit anything that is not meant for him. But again, I feel like we cannot live in that paranoia that we can prevent them from anything and everything that can possibly harm us. So we have to brace ourselves as well. We have to be prepared is what I feel. They will eventually outsmart us no matter what we do. And so it's funnily, my husband, we were thinking that, if you want to take some inspiration, let's cut the iPad time and you join some art classes. These were his literal words. In fact, just a week ago, we were having this conversation. And he's like, Mama, I'm going to school. I have a tuition. Please don't take the fun away from the art. I don't want to take another art class and, it just ruin the fun out of it. Now, I feel like, we really have to trust them for what they are. Of course, with proper communication. That's what I believe.
Great. So when it comes to social media and children, I believe moderation and monitoring is the key. As you rightly said, we cannot keep them away for long. Now, I have a 7-year-old. He is a prodigy, Ranveer Singh Sachdeva. You can Google him if you want to. So he started his journey with coding. So he was recognized as the younger Apple Swift coder by none other than Apple CEO Tim Cook.
Wow.
And he was invited to a worldwide developer conference as well. So screen is something that we cannot take out of our ecosystem. Especially again with working parents, it becomes a necessary evil because you are busy, your husband is busy, there are meetings. The children, of course, there are other avenues also for children where they can spend their energies, but then screen does come as a savior at times. Now, when it comes to social media, I believe that children, at least under a certain age, should have zero access to it. But then beyond a certain age, say teenagers, say when you're exploring teenage, it is primarily how the social media exposure is done for them rather than making it a complete block. Because since forever we've known that whatever is put down as a complete block for children would just increase their curiosity to tinker more, to find out ways around more to access that particular thing. So social media, in fact, there have been studies on the contrary part that appropriate use of social media can be beneficial for children in terms of their mental health, in terms of their emotional health, in terms of social awareness, in terms of the civic participation that they can do in a society. So there are benefits as well of social media, but unfortunately we live in times where the negatives outweigh the positives a lot more. So I think we as parents, we as society, it comes upon us to inculcate a value system to nurture our children in a way that we are sure that if they use social media, it is for the good. It is maybe to start a movement. Like the very recent is, if you've seen the demolition of the rock garden in Chandigarh. There are so many school children, so many teenagers who are coming up with online petitions to stop this demolition. So it can be used for good as well. It is not all bad and horrors out there. Of course, that there is no denying the fact. But then we as parents have to monitor them. Now my child, he being the youngest coder to be invited by Tim Cook, then he wrote a book, he became an author. He was the youngest TEDx speaker in the world for innovation and technology. Then very recently he was invited by the United Nations to be a part of UNGC. So for a child like him, he does have social media presence. He has his Twitter account, he has Instagram handle, he has a YouTube channel, he has many YouTube videos, but none of it are handled by him. It is primarily my husband and I who curate this. He knows of the concept, he is aware of social media, but he is not present there in terms of using these mediums. So it is something, a fine line of balance, like his video on UNGA garnered around some 50,000 views, and there were so many comments. So even when it comes to the comments that he receives online, we make sure that the ones that are from his friends and families, teachers, we make him aware that this is what happened, but mostly we keep it very, very filtered because he's at a very delicate age. Moreover, when we talk about access, he has zero access. And again, I have nieces of higher age who are just entering teenage. They're all very curious about Instagram. They would sneak in and watch a little reel from their mama's phones and, oh, this is so cute and this is so funny. So of course, there is a lot of nonsense out there. We need to protect our children from there. But then there are pages who share, word of the day. They are wonderful vocabulary words. They are wonderful meditative pages where you could find inspiration for good mental health, tip of the day for good mental health. Diet-wise, diet is such an issue with teenage girls especially. They are so conscious these days of what they are eating. So there are nutritionists, qualified nutritionists who are running these pages to, guide them properly. So I believe when my son is at that age, I would put more trust in my upbringing with him, in the value system that I put in him, rather than the negatives coming throughout the world. Of course, it is a very volatile world, anything can happen. But then you have to have that faith and trust that your child and things will eventually turn out to be good. So that's my perspective.
Okay. Well, I'm a psychologist and a mother of two. And being in the field, the profession, studying it, for me, I feel that children, especially under the age of 14, they are at such a critical window of development that they're thriving, they're growing up, they're becoming, they're developing intellectually, academically. It's a very critical window where they're also developing a lot of social and emotional skills. So a lot of development is happening at that point in time. And I feel that while social media, currently how social media operates, how there's a lot of transmission of information, photographs, likes, validation, I feel that ends up damaging and becoming a great obstacle in the child's basic overall development. Why I say that also is because social media is designed in a way which will offer you a lot of reward. Every time you watch a reel which is 10 seconds long or 20 seconds long, you've completed a task. Now the moment you complete a task, your brain releases dopamine, it gives you pleasure. Now that is happening. Now they're designed in a way wherein you will keep doing more and more of that. So there is this endless scrolling that's happening. So even if I feel that when we are giving our child access to social media, which has primarily, when I talk about social media, it's about more of exchange and user-generated content, if I would say. That's pretty unregulated, I feel. The reality is, while it started with something, I think social media came into existence with a very nice idea of connecting peers and our friends and relatives. But today I feel that they're so driven by reward and giving you rewards and hooking you to the social media and spending more and more your time there. I know for a fact that our kids' brains are not developed yet. Their reward centers are developed, but their prefrontal cortex, which helps them with impulse control, which helps them with better decision making, helps them with more and more logical reasoning, that's not fully developed. So I feel that when then we give access to kids and to social media, I feel then, we've put our kids on a bicycle, on a downhill, with they knowing how to ride down, but no brakes, I feel. I think social media currently is designed in that manner, wherein there are no brakes. And I know that we as adults also struggle and we get into that pattern of addiction. So I feel that, yes, for kids under the age of 14, when this development is going on, when they are dealing with their own struggles of, they hit puberty at that point in time. They are socially, emotionally developing. For them, their likes and, whether they are validated by their friends or not is much higher. Somebody rejects us as an adult, we'll feel bad, but they feel 10 times more bad about getting rejected, being left out. We also feel bad. I feel we also struggle. But since we've grown up, I feel we still are able to handle it better. But kids don't have those resources. And I honestly feel that social media should be, kids should not have access to social media. While they grow up, when they get into their teens, yes, moderation is important. You said something very beautifully, that actually social media is known to bring in a lot of people together and create so much positivity also. You get a lot of great insights from and a good learning. I know my son, who's 8-year-old, YouTube I feel is more of an information platform than social media. YouTube had been great for my child to start to learn, to start how to read also. There are amazing channels out there curated by amazing developmental psychologists, educators, wherein there is great stuff. I think I could not teach my child how to read so perfectly the way that channel would have done it. But having said that, social media, I would probably look at social media only in terms of brands like Instagram and Snapchat, and I think TikTok is already banned for us. I feel that doesn't do good because there is so much unregulated content. You give the child phone for 15 minutes, you've gone for a shower, you don't know where the child reaches. And it's absolutely inappropriate, and that becomes their reality. You see somebody with a filter and they have perfect lives, you're just scanning through that. So that distorts their reality because that's what they become familiar with. So I feel that till the time our children's impulse control hasn't developed, their brains haven't developed to an extent that they can practice all of that, they can delay their gratifications. I feel that till then, it's a weapon that we are giving our kids, and they right now do not have enough maturity, enough brain structures that can help them regulate. When they develop it, and I'm sure with our parenting, our guidance, they can make better choices, but let them, I feel, have that ability first, that strength first to develop it, and then give moderated access. But I'll also agree with what Saru mentioned, that we can delay it as long as we can, rather than coming down to an age wherein kids can be on social media, actively handling it below the age of 14. I don't think it's going to do good. It's just a lot of disaster with long-term impacts is what I feel.
Right. So I think I've already got a lot of views on moderately using it, banning it, not banning it, but yes, not using it for as long as possible. So I'm a mother of a 9-year-old. Have nothing to do with psychology or social media or YouTube penetration in the family, and there has not been a complete no also for that. So my daughter learnt English more through Peppa Pig rather than her preschool or me teaching her, and that's how she started speaking. So she spoke as early as 9 months old, and that was only because of the cartoons that she was watching. But when I got to know about this, I mean, when we saw the damage happening around us in our neighborhood and our friend circle, so my husband just ordered a book called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. And that book, if you go through it, every line, every page, it looks like, yes, it's happening and we need to stop it. So it's out of our control, but every line feels so powerful. So it started with the introduction of the smartphones in 2007. And if you see the data in that book, and if you see the data elsewhere, all the countries, whether it was the US or Canada or Australia, less of Asia, and a lot of Nordic countries also, there was a sudden decline in the mental health of both girls and boys from 2009 to 2015. This is the time when technology was really coming up. There were front-facing cameras. Girls were more worried about their pictures. They didn't want to look in the mirrors. They were more concerned of how they were looking in the cameras. Boys got into video games and all. And if you see all those data, it has nothing to do with the current, affairs of the world. So some people might say that because so many wars are happening, there's so much unrest everywhere, there's so much racism, this and that. So probably that's the reason there's a decline in the mental health. But it cannot be such a big coincidence that all the countries of the world which are directly impacted or not directly impacted are suffering because of that particular affair, the current affair that we are talking of. So it was mostly the technology that came into place, and it was from 2009 to 2015. So all this data, I mean, it makes me believe more in it that yes, the damage that has happened in the mental health of children is probably because of the social media access. And again, rightly said that YouTube may not completely qualify as social media, because social media needs to have a profile. You need to have a right to share your content. The problem comes when you're resharing the content, or like you said, that you're having more likes, more comments. So that's a trigger for everybody that even at this age, I'm not using my phone so frequently, but if it's on the table, I'll just pick it up, open 2-3 apps, see if there's an update, and I'll just keep it back. So that is a kind of addiction that I'm already into. So there are various damages that social media has already done, and rightly said that we do not need to expose kids to this. There are various other platforms. The play-based childhood has completely vanished. I mean, my daughter may have much lesser friends than I had when I was probably 15 or 16. At this age, she is 9-year-old. Though she is not given the access, she doesn't have a mobile phone access. I think she just watches some cartoons for about half an hour in a day, and we have a strict rule in the house that she is not supposed to pick up the phone. Even if a family member is calling, she is barred from doing that. So I'll pick it up when I have to. She doesn't has the right, I mean, she's not allowed to do it. So I think this is not needed. We need to focus on a lot of other things that we as children had done, and it helped us. It really helped us grow and communicate with people in our family, with friends, with strangers. So their communication skills are also going down because they're all the time just glued to the screen. They don't know how to interact with people. They don't know how to face challenging situations at school. So I think I also agree that we don't need it right now. Maybe we can probably delay it for as long as possible. But again, as you said, that we cannot have a complete no also, because everybody is growing with it. You will need to at some time give it to your children. But then it has to be supervised. And again, the right age has to be once they are off their teens. So, because that is, I read that the frontal cortex develops only by 2025. So they don't have the ability to choose what is right and wrong.
Thank you, Richa, for sharing that. Your thoughts and experiences resonate. I just wanted to share my background to put into perspective my viewpoints. By academic training, I've been a sociologist, so I have an in-depth understanding of how society works and the challenges. For the last more than 15 years, I've been an educator and the co-founder of the first Waldorf Steiner School in North India, also an author. And I was just sharing earlier about the book that is coming out. It's called Rhythmic Parenting, and Penguin has published it, and it's coming out in June 2025 this year. It's a book for all parents, because here we talk about not just the impact of media in detail, but the point that I wanted to put forward, that it would be oversimplistic to look at this issue or problem in isolation. It is one of the many, many outcomes of the high-tech, fast-paced world that we're living in the current times. Unfortunately, this world is a reality. It has robbed children of, it is mostly an adult world. It's suited for adults. It has robbed children of spaces and opportunities and experiences to be children, to be able to grow naturally according to their natural rhythms of their development, to protect childhood. And they're being pushed into this adult world to fit into this. And that, I would be really radical and say here, it's a crime. It's an assault on their childhood. And just because something exists and is available, we bring it to the child, is something that we need to think about. And again, having said that, the ideal scenario would be to completely protect children from media of all kinds, not just social media. It is true that we have working parents. I've been a working parent. I understand what a fight that is. But I would again say, and because I'm now a mom of 2 boys who are teenagers, so sort of ahead in the journey of parenting, you will be getting there soon. But the investment that you make in early childhood, that's an investment you make. And if you can prioritize that, you not only set your children up for the remaining years of their childhood, but also for their adult lives. Because again, when we look at children, it's not an empty category. They're evolving beings, and we cannot look at them in terms of at one point in time. What we bring to a 5-year-old is going to impact them when they're 14, and is going to impact them when they're 40 and 60. Right? So we have to look at the child as a whole being who is growing through time and across space, right? So to know that, to be aware that every time a child is in front of the screen, the child is stepping away from health. And every time that a child is not in front of the screen, the child is in their natural state of being, that is to be in movement, which is when they can grow in a healthy way. And it is tough. It's a tightrope walk, especially if you're living in a joint family. And I've lived in a joint family for most of my teenagers growing up years, with cousins who were watching the screen all the time, who had phones, who were eating junk food, and not just within the home, then you have the neighborhood. It's a tightrope walk, and when you're working, and when you're sort of nurturing a Waldorf school, it's like giving birth to a baby, so it's not a 9-to-7 job. It's tough, but as parents, and I really want to say this, it is the highest human endeavor to become a parent. It's the highest task that we have. Unfortunately, you know, for every job today, you have training, you have education, but parents, there's nothing to prepare them, to educate them, and it's not the parents' fault, because each one of us want to do the best for our children. The intensity at which the environmental factors come at us, we as adults are not able to prevent ourselves or save ourselves from becoming slaves to technology and media. So now imagine a child who doesn't have the capacity yet. And like you said, thinking unlike what people believe does not develop until it only begins to develop when the child enters the 3rd phase of their childhood, which is 14 and up. And it just begins to develop around that time. So a young child, again, to look at the child through their phases of development, so in the first 7 years of their childhood, what is developing in them, what is their main task, is to grow their physical body. That is their main task. Now, when we push them, whether it is academics, whether it is extracurricular, sport, piano, guitar, and the many other options that are available, or it's food, you know, there is too much and too soon of everything that's happening. And it pushes the child into something that they do not have capacities for yet. Now, the child loves you, and the child is a sponge, and the child will do what you say. And the young child is an imitating being. So they'll do what you're doing. They see you on the screen, they'll do that, right? It is upon us as adults around a child to create an environment that is appropriate for their stage of development. Once you've done this work in the early phases and in the primary years, now I have teenagers. My elder one is training to become a professional badminton player. So he plays most of the time. He's training most of the time. He travels alone a lot. He got his first phone when he was 14, and only for this reason, because he's traveling across the country, outside the country. He's able to self-regulate. I don't have to monitor him. We shouldn't come to a point where we need to monitor, because like you all said, there will be loopholes there. How much can you monitor? You cannot be a fly in their iPad or in their, mobile phone. He's learned how to do that because he has had an experience of the world where media or the screen was not an essential and an integral ingredient. He knows, he's experienced the physical world, being with people in person, being with things, being in nature. So when they have had that experience in their early years, they know how to exist without it. Then they can judiciously use technology and media and not become slaves of this. So I think the work needs to really happen in the early years, and then the journey becomes much smoother, and the need for coercive measures, monitoring are not there. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Lovely perspectives. Well, the way I see, and I use the word perspective for a reason, that's how you see something and how do you use that, right? So I'm a father of Vasav. He's a social media influencer. He started his journey like a coder only, and he's done various certifications starting from Harvard to Google and a lot of them. Then we moved to creating content. So he is a content creator. He's got over 300,000 followers on Instagram and other channels as well. And he became the social media partner for IITs, starting IIT Bombay, Kharagpur, Roorkee. He got funded from the United States to make his channel bigger. And all what he's doing on his channel is how you can do something in terms of technology, how you can leverage a course for free, how do you get this certificate. And he started getting queries from all the students who were in college or in early stages of their careers.
How old is he?
He's now 15, class 10th. So we started this when he was 12 years old. And the beauty of this was we saw this as a perspective. So in our stages of life, we would have gone to classes to learn English, maybe. Yeah, we went for personality development classes, maybe. We use this as a power. How can we use this to communicate better? How do you focus in front of the camera? How do you talk? How do you research? How do you look at the data, and what do you understand from it? All of this actually sits in our class 9th mathematics, class 8th mathematics, and even in 10th statistics books, we have how do you analyze this data. Obviously, yes, you would see some negative comments. You may, feel bad. But the way we see is that it is again a way how you embrace it, because today, tomorrow, later, you would get negative comments when you move into the real world. You will get to colleges, you will get ragging in the real world when we are in service, obviously, or you're doing some business, you will get pushbacks. So how do you actually embrace it and stand by it and actually deliver? So all of this becomes part of the learning, and in each step of these, I have been with him, his mother has been with him, and we do look at what he sees. We do sit with him, understand how he researches. When he got funded, he was able to set up a team. He was just 13, and he was having a team of all the students who are in colleges, third year, second year, and also the ones who are working in their early stages. So he's managing those people. We are paying them because it was his job. So we were able to hire video editors, we were able to hire content creators, researchers. Every content will come to him, me, we'll look at that. If it is good, it'll be short, it'll be live. So the idea is we used this as a power to understand how we can move ahead. The second part of the idea is if we understand how things are changing. So today the world is AI, and if you know something called as the gig economy, it is increasing. When it increases, normal jobs are going away. So our idea was also how do we equip our son that he becomes independent, he is able to set up something of his own, and today he is again getting funded for one of his new startups which will be coming up. So we are looking at a funding of 30,000 USDs, which is almost done deal, like it's there. Again, the point is he was able to create his worth out of using social media in the right sense. Second, he was able to manage a team of people. Then obviously when he started researching, the brains opened. And I think, two ways of the coin, it could be head or tail, good or bad. Cutting the wire doesn't make sense, but I think running with them is how you can help them grow. And I'm happy that at least he's reached this stage, rather than struggling to score well in class 10th, then 12th, and then everybody tries for IITs or NEET. Only a few handful people are able to do it. Some people go outside the country, and then you are in a question mark, what do I do next in my life? So that's how I see. Thank you.
That the world around us is changing. Yeah. There is no denying that. There is no stopping that. How much ever we want for the world to slow down, for the technology to slow down, or our children to be technology free or screen free, it's almost impossible, let's face it. So we might as well embrace it in a regulated, moderated way, of course. I'll give you an example, of course. I mean, before I jump into sharing my experience, because a lot of it has to do with your life, with your family dynamics, with your home dynamics as well. Now, when my son was born, I was all swooning over him. I had a passion for photography. I used to take his pictures. Very innocently, I would put them on social media. People would love it. People would put his pictures as screensavers and would share that, he's on my screensaver. It was very cute and awe moment until we started seeing some side effects of it as well. I mean, he was 2 years old when his account was hacked, and I didn't create another account after that. I mean, I just have my own account where I create my content. Having said that, I've been following some mothers. There's this blogger, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with. She lives through sustainability, and she has literally given up on everything related to technology, fast-paced life. Now, if that's the amount of sacrifice you're willing to do, then only you can keep your children screen-free. She takes them to villages. They're unschooled, they're homeschooled, they're not going to schools. Now, I see a pros, of course. I mean, the life they're living, the lessons that they are learning, probably our children won't in that way. But at the same time, when they will be exposed to the world and how other children are, there will be only a handful of the children like them, but a lot of children who are familiar with the technology, who are familiar with how to cope with the world that is actually living with technology, with social media. How to regulate, like you said, in life, of course, there will be a lot of challenges. Yep. There will be a lot of backlash. You go to school, somebody passes a comment. Now, that's not a virtual comment, but that's a physical world comment. Someone comments on your appearance. How do you handle that? How do you cope up with that? So all of that, of course, we have to ready our children for. Of course, in our house, so he comes back from school, he takes a break, he watches. So YouTube is allowed only on weekends now. It's been 2 years that I had to, sort of cut it down, that, there are certain days. Now, when I'm talking about regulation, that YouTube will be on Saturday, Sunday, only in the afternoon for 1 hour. Other times, it's strictly if you want to use, it has to be for something that you want to learn from. If you want to sketch and you want to see a tutorial, that's how you can use it. Now, and then of course, on weekends, we do have certain flexibilities. Weekdays, they come back from school, they have tuition, they go to bed. He goes to bed at 9 at night. He has his dinner at 7. During his dinner time, he does watch TV. And that is something that we have struggled a lot, that we try to cut it down, but then he's like, Mama, I need 40 minutes. Plus the thing is that his father, we have erratic work hours. And we only are 3 of us. Now, we are not sitting together for dinner. Now, a child who is doing a dinner alone, again, it all depends on family dynamics. Then he wants to have some screen and we don't mind that. But we have a rule that when every one of us are on table or we are going out, then let's have some conversation. Let's avoid the screen. So this is how we are trying to sort of, get it regulated according to our house dynamics. Now, the other day I had a YouTube channel and it's inactive for about 2 years. I used to make vlogs, but then it was taking a toll on my mental health because I was already very worked up with my Instagram and I had a lot of brand commitments, videos that I had to make. So it's sort of, and also the fact that, I started seeing that when my son was growing up, he was not really comfortable being filmed all the time. So then we had to discuss that as well, that, how comfortable are you? Now, he is part of the videos that I make for the brands, but we always now have a discussion because he was in front of the camera since when he was 7 months old. He did his first diaper commercial when he was 7 months. He had no idea what camera is, but he loved it. He was cutely, talking to people and everything. But then eventually, I realized that he needs to know what he's up for and he needs to be aware of. And of course, we have these conversations. In our house, there's a strict rule, even though my husband and me both are on social media, that we are not going to talk about our engagement. Although it directly impacts, we unknowingly sometimes I was like, oh my God, the reach is so bad, the engagement is so bad, it's not likes hi nahi aa rahe, views hi nahi aa rahe, and then I'm like, I'm always signaling him. He's like, Arey, I cannot always think. I'm like, no, you have to think, Baba. If we have made a part of it, we cannot let him feel that, likes and dislikes and number of comments is how the world values your work. I always tell him that, tomorrow, if whatever you want to pursue, you want to have a YouTube, because he does say, Mama, I want to have a YouTube channel. Like, why you want to be on YouTube channel? Because you want to be famous, or you really want to just showcase the work that you're doing? Do you want to make an art channel? You will not make this channel with the motive that how much people like it. Do you draw for yourself or you draw for others validation? So these are the conversations it's very, very important to have with your kids if they're part of the social media game. If they're not part and you're able to sort of, eliminate that completely from their life, great. But sometimes what I feel is that in a home which has very, very strict rules, children become very good liars also. So when they know that how their parents are going to react if they find out that they've watched certain content. Now, 2 things I found out that the other day on my YouTube channel that I was talking about, it was inactive. Suddenly I find a video, a very cute video of him being a dinosaur and having a fight with a toy. And he just uploaded it. I had no idea. He shot himself on an iPad and he was doing this whole Godzilla movie. He'd created a setup while he was with his nanny, and his nanny is very cutely filming him and he uploaded it. Now, okay, then we had this discussion that, you're using YouTube so that you could learn something. And sometimes, of course, while traveling, 1 or 2 videos you're watching. I'm strictly against short form videos, you guys. My son is not allowed, no matter what, he's not allowed to watch short form videos. That we are very, very clear on. And we, especially me and my husband, we have to be on the same page. And I've told him that we can't be seen watching short content in front of him as well. If the thing is that children are like absorbers, and if they see you that, they are doing it and they are watching all this content, but they are not letting me. So like, okay, at least till the time we are in front of him, please avoid that, because let's lead through example. Another example I wanted to share was that when I said that children become good liars, he does not have access to anything else. Like Google is also on restricted mode, YouTube is also on restricted mode. He cannot read comments, he cannot comment. Now I don't know till how long I will be able to keep that up, because they will eventually outsmart and they will know how to remove that from restricted mode, of course. But now one of his cousins came in during summer vacations. He was with us, he was what, 12, 13 years old. He was with us for a few days, and after he left, After a couple of days, he comes to me, and we always have like these bedtime conversations. We would read a book, and we have been doing this without any break since he was, I think, a year old. So we have this, heart-to-heart conversations, and he's like, Mama, I have to tell you something. That bhaiya that had come, he had showed me something. So I know where babies come from. And I was like, although I know I had made certain videos like how to have these conversations with your kids and all of that, because I do create such content as well, I was not ready for that conversation. I did not say anything. I said, okay, baby, tell me more. And then, of course, I wanted to understand what he understood, but then I didn't want to react or do anything or say anything. And then I said, tomorrow when you come back from school, we will talk about it. And I had that time and window to sort of prepare myself how to have that conversation with him. So what I feel is that your children, your relationship with your children should be strong and comfortable enough that even if they goof up, they mess up, they can come to you, they can tell you without any hesitation what they've been up to. Because let's face it, no one saw this coming. He has no access to social media, but he still saw some inappropriate content. Yeah. How far can you go about it? How far can you stop them and keep them? We can't keep them in a bubble, is what I'm trying to say. So we have to sort of make that environment and that connection with our child, that even if they make a mistake, they will know that their parents will not react, and they are there to help him out of it.
Great perspective, some very relatable perspective. So here first I would like to draw a line between screen time and social media. I think we are merging the two in our discussion. So for my son, like I see, when we come to house rules, so we are strictly, weekends are screen free. We all try and indulge as a family, because it's just like you, it's just the three of us, and no permanent house help, no parents always around. So we have to manage all the dynamics ourselves. So weekends are primarily screen free. We would meals are strictly screen free, because we were going into that rabbit hole of giving him a little screen window while he's having his food or we are feeding him. But then I saw his relationship with food going a little down south. So then it was a strict no screen on the table whatsoever, no matter what the meal. So these are two ground rules: no screen during the weekend, no screen during the meals. Now, when it comes to weekdays, of course, it's my husband is in a remote setup. He works from home. He has his own home office setup, but then he has meetings throughout the day, right? So when this guy comes from school, he's independent enough to take care of everything, the basic changing clothes, having his warming up his food and eating on his own. But then he does need that little window before he can see. When we talk about giving our children the kind of childhood we have, it's really unfortunate. We have pollution to face. We have mosquitoes to face. We have dengue. We have we have safety concerns. Can I send my child downstairs even at the society park all by himself? No, I'm sorry. I'm a little paranoid there. My husband or I have to be there when he's down there. So by the time my husband finishes his work and he's able to take him down where he's playing football or with his friends or swings or whatever he wants to, just run around wild. Before that window, he would want to, do a little structured screen time. Now, this guy also, he's done a course from Harvard. He's pursuing a course from Harvard. He's earlier in his winter break, he was associating with professors from IIT Delhi for a course on robotics. It was an ongoing thing. So screen somehow became necessary for him, whether it's his coding journey, whether it is engaging with. So he's a public speaker as well. He's done multiple TEDx talks. He delivers keynote sessions at schools, and most of his speeches he prefers writing them on his own. So he would want to do research on that part. But then again, the research part, or where he needs to access open source of information, then it is always with my husband and me around, because we wouldn't want him to click that incorrect link, like inappropriate link, or we wouldn't want him to go sideways. So again, when screen time in general, it is you said that it should come to a point where there's no monitoring around, monitoring required. But I think at this age, if we have to indulge them with use of internet, we have to monitor them right now. So that happens. And coming to social media, again, just like I said earlier, his access to social media is negligible in terms of him having awareness of awareness is there, but not the usage of, say, Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter. Snapchat, though, anyway, nobody uses. I think it's such an archaic tool. No, I don't think so. But then around me, I see, there are friends with elder children. They are my nieces, that age when they are entering teenage. There, I think usage of social media brings in a lot of image concerns, appearance concerns, which tend to, for certain individuals, it can tend to go in a negative way. But then there also, I think, us as parents, we need to instill that very strong sense of self-worth in our children, that a filter or a dislike or a negative comment, and like you said, those comments can come from real life as well. You go to their school, these children are so evolved that they would be talking about everything in school, right? And you cannot filter those real life comments out. If the negative comments are there on Instagram, they're there in real life as well. The children would not shy out about saying something negative to your child. You have to make sure that your child is strong enough to know that this particular comment coming from somebody does not define their self-worth. So that is what we try to build on, that no matter what, if you're receiving something that is not very pleasant, you do not need to be bothered by it. So that's pretty much it.
Wow, great. I heard a lot of things and I want to say a lot of things before I share my personal perspectives about it. I think how we all are sharing the idea about that, there are comments that are out there on social media, and they'll say negative things about you, and you have to kind of, brace yourselves and understand it. I think that was something that we also experienced while growing up. We all growing up were facing bullying, right? Yes. So body shaming, and for us, I feel that our sense of, body image issues. So I feel that the girls, for that matter, get more affected earlier in age as compared to boys, because they exist in the world more socially. Whereas boys, social media content consumption happens more in forms of video games or creating something, like how the two boys that we have here, beautiful prodigy boys who are doing coding. So they're constructing things. When I'm hearing you, I'm hearing that your boy has found himself a purpose, and he's driving towards his purpose through social media as a medium to be able to accomplish that. But when we are talking about the world in general, we exist in that normal bell curve wherein maximum population is in the middle of it. There are very few people who are prodigies, and there are very few people who are doing absolutely horribly, sadly in their life. But most of us exist in that continuum. And I feel in that continuum also, so many of us are now getting more exposed to filtered images, which impacts girls and boys and us also. When we talk about bullying and comments, I feel bullying ho raha hai, cyberbullying has gone to another level. On one specific reel of an influencer, for that matter, I'm sure one reel you'd give, it's a nice reel, it'll have multiple comments. And I feel when I use Instagram, for more than the reel, I'm interested in reading the comments, right? Because it's so much fun there. It's so much juice and content and gossip and whatever there. So I feel that that extent of bullying is too wide. Somebody bullied you, that bullying stops when you're out of that system. So if somebody is bullying you at your tuition, for that matter, you don't go there, it stops. But if you've put something out there on social media or on the internet, it is so difficult for you to take it away. It's out there, and there's no way to take it off. So even if you've made a mistake, even if you've said something, even if you stumbled, I don't think there is any way that we can reverse that. And the damage that has on the child is too much, I feel. The other thing that we're talking about is, how we have rules and regulations, how we kind of have this conversation with our children, ki yaar hame farak nahi padna chahiye, self-validation, and very important. Do you need to have a channel because you want to get popular, or do you want to have a channel because you love art and you want to display it? But if somebody asks me that question, I would say, yeah, I also want to be, have Instagram, lot of followers, because I want to talk about mental health content. But somewhere I as an individual also want popularity. That's a very basic need, that sense of belongingness, I feel, that sense of fame. And these are such basic needs that we have, that those needs are not wrong. But you probably will give a socially desirable answer to it, that I would want to do it for art. But honestly, I think then our focus shifts from, like I think how your son also mentioned, कि मुझे art class नहीं जाना क्योंकि fun निकल रहा है. तो जब वो art create कर रहे हैं for content, then I feel the fun of that again maybe goes away. It starts with that, but I think, and that's how social media started. That it started with the idea of us being able to connect. I remember when I first got on Facebook, I was not in Delhi, I was studying somewhere else in a tier 2 city for my master's. So I did not have a lot of people around, and that is when Facebook came. And I had my own account, and I got on Facebook, and I got in touch with, people I had lost touch with, not only my school friends, but also some seniors, some teachers. And it was such a delight to be there. But over the years, I think social media has become absolutely amazing as an agent of advertising. And I think that's how we are all, I mean, you know better. You have to create content, 3-second ka hook hai ki nahi, engage kar sakte ho, nahi kar sakte ho. The attention for children is actually falling short. True. In no ways our attention span is building up. Yeah. So our attention span has come down. हम लोग पहले 3-3 घंटे की movies देखते थे. 2, then we started watching YouTube tutorials of 8 to 10 minutes. 2 coming down to a reel of 30 seconds, and the shorter the better it is. So attention or focus, I think we've taken that away from a child. And if you look at children while they're growing up, and I'm sure you'd know better since you're probably taking care of young kids, I think when I took my all ages, oh wonderful. I think when I took my children to play school, because I'd also studied psychology, but when you have that experience, intellectual understanding and experiencing things are very, very different. So when I became a mother, and when I took the child to the play school, the teacher would always tell us that your child will initially just have a very short attention span. It'll gradually increase. So if the child is sitting for 10 minutes and doing a task and completing it, fabulous. And now I feel, can our kids actually sit and focus on a task for 10 minutes? It is slightly difficult, and I feel not only for kids, for us as well. So having said that, I feel that, bullying and cyberbullying on social media, I don't think we can really compare it. For sure, that task our parents had to, that you are not what you look like, but you are more than that. And parents ka hamesha job hai that they are able to kind of, inculcate that in you, that you don't exist as a physical being. So it's not that, you look a certain way and that's why you're going to be popular, attractive, or likable. But who you are, your self-concept is more important. That was a task I think all parents throughout the generation are doing. I think that task for us as parents is now much more harder. Because pehle, as a teenager, I would read that magazine 17. And I would be like, oh, everybody's so nice. And I would be this dark-skinned, acne-filled, skinny girl. Nowhere looking like that person. Nowhere, matching the standards of the popular girls in the school. So I will struggle. And on TV. But that access for us was so limited. I will only get access to that magazine if I go and buy it. And my father is buying me that because I'm anyhow reading books. So that magazine also I get. But now I feel that when we have access to social media, exactly my point, that 15 minutes of access we give to our child, 15 minutes में कितनी video देख लेते हैं, 15 into 60 into 60 if we do, I don't know the math, but it's a lot. And उसमें हो क्या comparison? तो वो 15 minute का जो damage, and I'm not saying वो instant damage हो रहा है, but वो 15 minute तो शायद रोज मिल रहे हैं ना. And then the kind of conversations we as parents are able to have, because I feel that we also as parents have our own share of insecurities as human beings. Our selves are also not completely evolved that we'll also be able to. So like, we say we'll be able to say nice things to our kids, but our kids will observe that, when mom is going out for a party or a wedding, how obsessed she is with how she's looking. Yeah. So they are able to see it. So no matter what we say, ki jaise bhi dekho chalta hai, it doesn't, it matters. Exactly. Because the world keeps saying that to you. And I feel that just being on social media magnifies your exposure to how you are flawed because that's what it kind of depicts, right? How everybody's having a perfect vacation, how everybody's having perfect food to eat, clothes to wear, filters and poses to make that you essentially start seeing yourselves as a flawed person, and something is missing. There is so much fear of missing out that you want to keep acting on it. And I feel that design of social media is such that it'll just keep feeding on your FOMO and you will keep giving into that. So that is what I feel, that while that's there, I feel it still should be away. But my personal experience, kids, I feel right now for me are too young. They are not on social media whatsoever. They have access to YouTube, which I primarily feel is not social media at all. It gives you information. That also requires, at this point in time, yes, monitoring. So I feel YouTube, when it has YouTube Kids, you feel still there are things that can come up which can be not very great, right? And in fact, when I see clients, when parents come to me with their kids, over the years what I've seen is what has started to happen, and this is both screen and social media. Like for young kids, like how you mentioned, right, your child started to talk, and I think a lot of kids have picked up UK accent English from Peppa Pig.
American accent.
Yeah, so they have this accent, and for me it was difficult to match up that accent and have a conversation with him, and it was unfortunate that he could not frame a sentence in Hindi, right?
Yeah.
And that's not great, because that took away his building relationships with his peers in the park. Absolutely. Because not every peer is watching Peppa Pig and they are not well versed in Hindi. So what started to happen, he was great at speaking in English. I, as a first time mom, was very proud of, oh, look at my child is speaking in English, amazing. But when he started walking out, and when the time came that he had to make friends, he was struggling because he couldn't speak in Hindi. He was struggling because, you know, how he was also very fond of Rubik Cube. So he'll do that. He'll do environmental stuff. But for him then to exist in that social setup, it became a struggle for him. So, but having said that, I've also seen that there's a lot of speech delay in kids because they get access early to screens. So while it worked well for you, but for a lot of people have not developed speech. And that speech, even if they've developed, is not proper because, you know, you've picked up words and language and ways of communication through screens. Having said that, when I also see other clients, I see that, you know, people come to me, they bring in their teenagers, and they say that they're, you know, now they're here for therapy or for counseling or for some intervention because they're being aggressive and violent. Yeah. Like one mother came up to me and she was this lady, she was absolutely helpless कि मैं इसका phone छीनती हूँ. One lady mentioned कि इसने मेरी उंगली मोड़ दी. He was so violent and so aggressive that you cannot take it away from me. The other woman came up and she said that यार गला पकड़ लिया एक दिन इसने मेरा कि आपने मेरा phone कैसे छीन लिया. So, you know, while I think right now we are giving them access, we are controlling, your kids, they are young, they are able to, you know, take that from you, that they are taking it that, okay, you are not giving us your permission hai. I still feel they'll test our boundaries, and by the time they grow up, they've become so used to it, it is so addicting for them that when you take it away, what that child is doing is not something, he'll not intentionally mean to harm the mother at all. But you see what it has done to your body, that it is actually a withdrawal response for you to get violent. And that's what I've been observing. That is exactly something that's been happening wherein people are getting more and more violent. I see girls, they come in, they have so much anxiety and an anxiety attack. Why? Because my best friend, and this is also common, we also saw that, somebody will isolate you because you had a fight with someone. And they probably go out and make a plan and they go somewhere. You don't get to know it till the time they don't come and tell you. But two people went out, posted story, you see it, and then even if you were not supposed to be the part of the plan, nowhere close, you start feeling, why was I not included? And I honestly feel, while we say so many things, in a realistic world, it's not possible for us parents who are working, we have our own lives, we have our own challenges, so much we want to do, but are we able to actually speak to them about everything that they see? I don't think we can do that. It's really impossible for us to do that, and for that I feel there is so much more. I think we were talking about play-based childhood. I feel it has been replaced by phone-based childhood, and we can restore that play-based मिल जाएगा, क्योंकि आगे जाके I don't think today you and I, no matter how much we want, we get to have that kind of play the way our kids right now can get it. And I feel that while we are exposing them to social media in any format, it's going to be more lucrative, it's going to be more easy, it's going to be more engaging, it's going to be more fun than going out in the park, not having a friend and figuring out ways to entertain yourself. So it's going to be easier. And like how you also mentioned कि हम नीचे बच्चे को पार्क में नहीं जाने दे रहे हैं क्योंकि we don't trust people. We don't know when they're on social media where they are at and whom they are coming across with. I've seen so many times, so many people coming in because they've come in touch with people on the web who had made them do things that they were not proud of. There are activities that they're indulging into that are illegal. They are getting into so many addictions of other things that we also used to be a part of. Like, I think getting exposed to inappropriate content. I think every teenager growing up, you get a hold of, even back in the days. I feel our parents also get a hold of inappropriate content some ways in their teenagers. But I feel now it's too easily accessible.
So, yeah, I think that's already a lot of information for a person like me who's no background in that. But yeah, I'll answer the second part first, where we are talking of real life experiences of neighbors or friends or even within our family. So, fortunately, as a family, I think all the kids, my brother's son, very smart child, but refrained from, again, social media and all kind of screen videos and all. Yeah, he does watch cartoons sometimes. Then my sister-in-law who's in London, even her kids are like a lot of supervised screen time for them as well. And even in our neighbors, I would say. But yes, there are kids in her school. So Ahana goes to Heritage Experiential Learning School. It's again a very experience-based school where there are not a lot of books, not a lot of screen time. Screen time is hardly there, I think. But yeah, they don't have textbooks as such. So they learn everything through experience. Yet, there are kids in her school, in her class, who are into video games, into a lot of other, I would not say inappropriate or age inappropriate content, but videos that I am not aware of or she is not even aware of. She would come to me and she will tell me that, Mama, do you know so-and-so was watching this? Mama, can I download this? Mama, can I watch this? And my only answer to her is no. There is no explanation required. Why no, why this, why that. It's just a no. And I think over 9 years now, she's 9.5 years old. She's understood that no means a no. There is no going back and forth on it and there's no scope for negotiation. So I think it's not very, on my personal view, it's not very hard to let your child know what is allowed and what is not. And also, I think we've gone overboard as far as parenting is concerned. We've all lived with very strict parents. My parents were really strict. I was not allowed to do sleepovers. I was not allowed to go to birthday parties as such. There were no phone calls allowed at home. And अगर किसी ने लड़के ने phone कर दिया तो फिर तो it's over, no matter what the reason was. So I think, yeah, it was difficult for us to accept that kind of parenting at that time. But now when I see, as a 40-year-old now and with a 9-year-old daughter and in this environment which is really vulnerable for her, she's very vulnerable to it. So I feel it was fine, and we also did not question them too much. They did not have to sit down every day, explain ki ye kyun, aise kyun, waise kyun. So I think we have gone too overboard with it, and just having a routine, थोड़ा सा हंस लिया, थोड़ा सा strict हो गए, you talk to them about school, you talk to them about studies, you can't be with them 24 hours also. So setting a routine at home would be like you're in a class. Morning, this to this, it's English, this to this, math, this to this, Hindi, this to this is your meal time, then this is your talking time, then this is your play time. So we can't have that kind of an environment at home. So I think all of us need to be a little easy, like you said in the beginning, that it's too much of everything, too much of being good.
There has to be a structure.
Yeah, that's what. So we also had good structure at home, that we went to school in the morning, we came back, we had our lunch, we had our TV time, we had our play time. But it was not, okay, this to this, 1 hour of this, half an hour of this. If you like something, you may watch it for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, maybe 2 hours. Like you said, we go for movies and we watch it for 3 hours. And sometimes there's nothing coming on the TV. So when it was our time, we did not have Netflix, Amazon Prime or something. And it was not that always on the TV there is something that you really want to watch. So there were days when you didn't watch TV at all. You didn't have to. So it's just too much of, I think, getting into this is right, this is wrong, this, and of course, when it's not there, you don't have an option. So if smartphones are not there, if social media is not there, the child will not have an option only. You're just giving them another platform to deviate. That, okay, this is one source, now you decide you want to do it or not. And then if they choose to go on that path, then you have 10 other things to do with them. Tell them what to do, tell them how to accept the rejection, how to accept the reward or whatever. So I think we can just take it easy. It's just going too much overboard. That's how I feel as a mother of a 9-year-old, that I think we don't need to get into that too much. It can be avoided completely.
Yeah, I'd just like to extend on what you just said. Our generation, I think many of us might have parents who were very strict, and we were allowed to do a few things and not allowed to do a lot of things. And I think the current generation of parents, in trying to break away from how they were brought up, have gone to the other extreme. In trying to be liberal, we are raising little adults. You know, we don't realize that our child is a child. We want to include them in decision making. We offer them choices from when they're very young. Do you want to eat fried egg or do you want to eat boiled egg? Do you want to buy the blue shoes or do you want to buy the pink shoes? Now the young child, their dynamic with the world is of oneness. They don't see themselves as separate from the world. Their consciousness of I, what we call ego, has not developed. It hasn't even come in for the first time. Our ego consciousness develops until 21. So when we're telling a young child to make these choices, we're telling them the world is not good, Baba. You need to choose. Either you like this or you don't like it. So we push likes and dislikes on our young child. We burden them with decisions that we need to make as parents for them. Now when this child has been pushed into this thinking, into experiencing the world in compartments, it is disharmonious for them because that is not their inner gesture towards the world. But now they've gotten into this habit. Now when they're older and they want to make those choices, we come down at them and say, so the whole process is a little lopsided and it's been turned on its face. You're including the child a lot in their parenting process, and it's not their job. It's our job. We're the parents. We have become fearful almost of being parents. We've become fearful of having an authority, and the authority doesn't have to come with a carrot or a stick. It comes out of love, but knowing that borders are good for children. They need these boundaries. How we build the boundaries, and I just want to come to that when you were talking about, not having a routine, like at school, and when Saurav just mentioned that a structure is needed, both are absolutely correct.
I think more than the strict routine, I feel like a flow of the day.
Yes,
so
and I just want to come to that.
Right.
That's exactly what we speak about in rhythmic parenting, a concept we're putting out. Rhythm as opposed to routine. So, and the rhythm of in-breath and out-breath. And what does that mean for a young child? Or an older child or adults? We're breathing in impressions from the world all the time, whether we like it or not. And like you said, they're going to school. Content will come to them. One way or the other. The idea is not to keep them in a bubble, but the idea is also not to push them out into the open seas before they're ready and equipped, right? So a rhythm is that flow of in-breath and out-breath experiences. How much is the child taking in? Does the child have the space and opportunity in the day to breathe it out? And free play, some arts which are not structured. So not going to an art class, also not filling in color on an iPad or an app, but really having a blank canvas with color so that they can really digest what they have taken in. Play, movement, these are all sleep. Sound sleep is the most pure out-breath experience. Children's sleep patterns are disturbed. Screen time, I would again say not just social media, but just screen time itself. So many parents come to us of young children every day, and the number is increasing. Either the child is aggressive, they're having a tantrum, they don't want to eat their meals. Sleep times are struggleful. If the child is going to sleep, they're not having a sound sleep. Many children have to be woken up from their sleep in the morning to go to school. That tells you, that is a big sign to tell you the child has not had enough or sound sleep. If the child needs to be woken up, they have not had good sleep. What the child experiences during the day impacts how they sleep, and the cycle continues. So how we bring this rhythm of in-breath, out-breath in their day is crucial, especially if children have intense in-breaths of screen time. Like in your case, where you feel it's imperative for the child to do it, and as parents, you're the best judge and it's your decision. But how can you then build in spaces of out-breath where the child can actually digest? And while we think having conversations with 7, 8, 9-year-olds will help them, and like you rightly said, they firstly don't have the capacity for logic and reasoning, of causal thinking. They don't have that capacity. So when we tell them, agar ye karoge to aisa hoga, it's empty words, okay, falling on deaf ears. They will agree with you simply because, they love you. The words don't matter. They don't understand that. They can't put that together. So really, and then coming to what is happening around us. What you were just mentioning about, of course, the self-image, the perception. Now, when children come into adolescent years, this is a huge time for change that they're experiencing. It's a tumultuous time for them. They're going through a turmoil inwardly. It's like a new birth. The world they've known is falling apart. They're going through physiological changes, and they have been hit by a tidal wave of new feelings and emotions they have never known before. These children need a social group, their peer group, in person to play out these feelings. I said this, I was a part of that group, now they don't want to talk to me. On Instagram, you can be blocked. The next day you go to school, you have to meet them. Yeah. That is how you develop the capacity to stand, to become comfortable in your own skin, to not be swept away. And these are capacities that we need to build for our children, especially in today's times, because the world is becoming more and more dehumanized, if I can say that, and I would want to put that word out there. We are becoming increasingly a dehumanized society. How can a child who has not even fully explored and experienced the range of human emotions and experiences, how can they then, in a virtual realm, be expected to develop these capacities? It cannot happen. It's damaging for them. There's no other way to say this than to really put it bluntly. So let them first have that experience in person. What is also happening on social media is the interactions are not human anymore. Initially, there would be, you're talking on the phone, you at least have the sound, even though it's electronic, okay? Now, their interaction has become textual. Even if you read their texts on Discord or Instagram or any other apps, portals that I might not even be aware of, they have become abbreviated completely. So the language, they're losing language. The other thing is, if I'm talking to you, I can hear you, you can hear me, you can get a sense of my tone, you can get a sense of what lies behind my tone, the gestures, the expressions, all of that is missing. So so before they have had this time to actually experience this, let's not push them unless it's absolutely essential. Like it might be in your case because that's the path you've chosen for your kids and you are trying to protect them however much you can. But again, coming back to what you said, the larger parents and children, the larger group in this continuum of two extremes falls in this bracket where children, before they're ready, they're being thrown into this and they don't have the capacities. So more than developing skills, academic, training or vocational skills. We don't need that. With AI coming in, a lot of these skills will become more obsolete faster than ever before. What the future generation needs are life capacities, and they cannot be built online. They can only be built in person when they interact with their physical environment and have the chance to play it out in reality. So before we push them into the virtual reality, let's give them a chance to be in the world that is around them. Yeah.
Thanks. At our home, coming back to the main question, at our home, there's a very important word which we fall back on. It is called as trust. Yeah. So you build that space, build that trust first. Very, very important when they're growing up. And you tell them one thing very clearly. Okay. You walk on the road. You have good people. You have bad people. You have to make the choice. Same is social media. And I also want to correct one thing here. Whatever is on Instagram is absolutely same on YouTube. In the shorts, everything is same. So YouTube is not clean at all, if you think so. Right, that's number one. Number two is, I have seen a shift left. I have seen a real change. And some very nice examples. 4 a.m. on the exam day, children are awake. They are watching Physics Wala. They are watching a lot of other channels. And you got 10 lakh people, 10 lakh students doing revision of what will be asked in the exam the same day. Is this not beautiful? Do you think otherwise the this ecosystem will support? I don't think so. So there is an opportunity, and there is again a way of how do you consume what you consume. That thing has to be drawn very clearly to our kids, to the students, so they understand what is right and what is wrong. Some more examples which will come in picture are, again, if you look at the content on social media, a lot of people want to actually showcase, here is my muscle, I am taking XYZ brand of protein powder, then there will be females who will be showcasing some makeup stuff.
Yeah.
Or why is this happening? Sorry. Why is this happening? Because ultimately they want to show that I am consuming this, this is good for me, you can take it, and I'm an influencer. The real deal is that, right? This is good content till now, but you have bad content also. So idea is how do we draw that line, number one. Number two, what is their takeaway from that bad content has to be spoken and understood very well. Why are they saying that if they are saying that? Number three is, if you look at the fake news, we're sitting in the news area already, you get super pathetic content that they are uttering anything. Again, we have to draw the line. And as we spoke about AI, today AI can do everything for us. Maybe they can't make the best of the best videos because we use AI also. I also use AI a lot. But if we take off an example like in video, you give it a prompt, it will make the script, it will make the video for you, it is ready, put it and you're done. You can make a YouTube a long video as well, but the content is actually very shabby. So again, the idea is, if our kids are using it for consumption purposes, what are they consuming? We must talk to them, and the word trust will actually make a lot of difference. So we have to speak. I don't think so we should cut the wire. It doesn't make sense, because when they actually move in the next level, let's say they hit their colleges, they go to senior classes, they will feel out of the box. And the idea is that we need to at least give some level of support, some exposure, so they're ready when they're transitioning from A to B. And I think that is where we need to push something out. Obviously have some control as well.
I'd just like to respond to that. This feeling of if I don't expose my child already, that they will not be able to fit in because the rest of the world is doing that. I think I just want to, if we just expand on this and not only limit it to media, this is true for everything, right? There is substance abuse out there. There's junk food. There's all kinds of things happening, right? So are we introducing all of that to our child? Let's bring them marijuana now because they will go out in the world, their friends will be doing it. So let's already give them a little bit.
I mean, of course.
I know it might be a little,
Yeah.
extreme, but just to drive the point home. So not to get literal with the example, but just because something is existing, again, the idea is, do we want to push them out too soon? That's a question for all of us to hold, and the answer can be, again, very unique to each one of us in our own home settings, family dynamics, all of that. But just because we're having this discussion, and it's so great that we're able to have this.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the way, again, the biggest question is, why are you using social media? What is the purpose? Has to be clearly thought, spoken.
Sure. So like
very important.
Yeah,
very important. Number 2 is CBSE. Every year is changing the content. Yeah, we all know that, right? Python is introduced in class 9th also. With all due respect, do we think our schools are ready? Answer is no. Do you think we can send our kid to a small shop or tuition center nearby, go learn Python, come back? No. What are we using? A course maybe online, or maybe Code with Harry on YouTube, Free Code Camp, YouTube. There are amazing channels. So again, if we use the social media, and having said that, Instagram shorts are also there, which teach you coding in a flick. Amazing content is there. Again, why are you using? What is the purpose? Has to be clearly thought through, and it's going to help only.
Sure, but these are all exceptional cases, like you said.
I follow this one influencer, and he talks about physics, chemistry, and everything, and it's such a delight to watch him because in a very funny way he teaches the concept. But again, the question comes when I'm only watching him, but the algorithm will give me something more. How do I take that off? I don't know how do I remove it. Even if I say there is time that a social media will ask me, is this appropriate for you? Are you interested, not interested? Even if I'm clicking, I'm not interested. It's just full of that. We had a wedding in the house last year, and I started looking for, wedding attires or whatever. Within a span of 5 days, all I had was just that. So all my social media content, which was very curated of book reviews, mental health, following only, very prominent professors on Instagram or wherever, it all blew up somewhere else. I don't know how to go back.
This is true elsewhere also. I go to school, I may set up with a gang of students who are not good or who are maybe coming from a different thought process.
But you have a choice to pull back.
Yeah.
But when we are using internet, when we are using the screen, how many times I know that I, being wherever I am, we talk about mindfulness all day, I make them practice with, it becomes difficult once you've picked it up to put it down.
So Instagram and YouTube also not supporting it per se, but yeah, you can go and delete your history, refresh.
Yeah, you see, I think the point is,
like, if you want to pull yourself back, there is a way.
As an adult, you might be able to do it. As a child, they don't have the and also but also adults don't have it. There are so many adults around us, who are stuck,
struggling,
who are stuck. They're not even in a social gathering. You will find so many adults on their phones rather than talking to the person next to them, right?
Absolutely.
That's not uncommon today.
Yeah. Also to add there, I think I'll not take a lot of time, but like you said that your son needs it, so you are teaching him how to do it and what not to do, and you're guiding him. We can also have an account of yours where you have an account and you show that content to your son because you know that he needs it for the right purpose. But a child, like she said, that a lot of us fall in the majority curve, the bell curve. They don't know what they are there for. They are just there to pass time, or it gives them a dopamine rush, or it just keeps them involved in something because they have nothing else to do. For them to decide whether it's right, whether it's wrong, like she said, that 5 days and the content was completely changed. I mean, the original was gone and it was all, and we've all seen it. We all use Instagram, we all see it. So for a child who's less than 14 years old, 13 years old, who has multiple other things to do, he doesn't have the capacity to understand what is right, what is wrong. And we see that children in their adolescence age, they tend to move to the wrong track very quickly because it's that curiosity that everybody else is doing, I also want to do it. So why give them that chance? I mean, you can have an account of yours and you can guide your child through.
And let's
It's also
not
give
always
credit.
about giving a chance also.
Yeah.
The thing is, what I'm trying to say, I think we all agree here that we're all talking about moderation.
Yes.
We're all talking about regulation.
Supervised, yeah.
Supervised, and also that actually, especially his son is older, and all of us are children. I mean, during the teens, I know for sure they will get into social media by the age of 12 or 13. Right now he's 8, and I know right now at least I have some hold over him, but then how much for how long? So that's what my point is. Of course, for as long as possible. Right now, I don't think he's smart enough to delete the history. I tell him that, whatever you are doing.
Google family account, yeah.
Yeah, common family. So he uses my email address.
Yeah.
And right now, we have very much under control that, this is the only email address that you'll be using, and whatever he is watching, I have the history and I have everything to track. So I show him that these are the shots that you watched today, and these are the videos that you watched today. And then, we have this small discussion, and, what do you feel about? Do you think that this video was interesting? Do you think you should have watched it or whatever?
Yeah.
So now, of course, now that he's not on Instagram, and coming to Instagram and YouTube, and actually, on YouTube you still have a restricted mode, but I don't think on Instagram you really can't filter out yet. So I think Instagram and Snapchat, I feel a little more towards the
They can be kept away.
Yeah, danger side. I mean, YouTube, I feel it right now, we can still manage, at least for younger children below the age of 13 and 12. When the teens hit, they are very smart. We have all outsmarted. I mean, my parents, whatever they had told me not to do, I made sure I went ahead and did that. I mean, I probably was a rebellious child, and my son is also very, very strong-headed. Very strong-headed. When you said that, a simple no, he will not take a simple no.
Yeah,
why?
exactly.
You have to give me a why.
When we were talking about overparenting or being able to hold authority with children, I think this is a new pedigree of children. They will not listen to you unless you convince them. Why do they need to listen to you?
It's good if they're questioning.
Yes, they question
it's good
everything.
If they're doing that, because then we are not just saying that whatever the world tells you to do, you're actually supposed to do that. Why? Because you're told. Because we said so. We have struggled. We millennials have struggled with that kind of parenting all our life, because our parents said no. So
See, for us, whatever parents said became the one final truth. Whatever our teachers said, that was the golden truth. We never thought of questioning them or, even thinking that what they are saying might not be the best thing. But this is, I think, I see all across children. Boys, girls, across different, IB school kids, CBSE, ICSE, I've seen them all. And all of these children of today's generation, how the Pentium chips are upgrading years after year. These children are being born with upgraded chips.
Absolutely.
They would not just buy in what you tell them because you are their parent. Till a certain age, it does work, but beyond when my kid was 4-ish, he wouldn't just listen to me or my husband because we told you so.
Yeah.
So that, it reminds me a little of Miss Trunchbull as well, that how she said, I am big and you are small. It does not work with these children anymore. They would need to have a valid reason. If I'm asking him to go to sleep, like 8 o'clock his bed routine starts, winding down, thought for the day, talking it out, freshening up and everything. By 9 you have to be in bed. But if 8:30 a phone call from a friend is coming, why cannot I take it? Why cannot I talk to him right now? Because this is winding down time. We have to be in bed by 9 o'clock so that you can wake up fresh and nice. So then he wouldn't just listen that I told him that you cannot, indulge in screen or phone right now. That's the end of the story. I had to tell him that how the sleep rhythm works, what are the stages of sleep, and then he was fine. Yes,
right.
Then
my
he buys
son
it.
also similar approach is working. I mean, every time I have told him that no, you're not supposed to be on this platform, he will not just settle down with not an answer. But then when I've given him a logic, he definitely understood. At least for now, it's working. I don't know if the syllabus changes tomorrow, and tomorrow I have to get up with some new answers. We are not sure of that. How the generation is changing very quickly, and time is also changing very quickly. But yes, this generation, we have to sort of give them a sense of individuality as well, that you have a say. And yes, not always. Of course, there are choices, like you said, now green and pink choose. So I did that mistake early on when he was 3 and 4, when I was like, okay, he should have a choice. And then I saw that even as an adult, I was having decision-making fatigue. When I'm constantly being asked, ki aaj kya banana hai, kya karna hai, and I'm multitasking and everything. And I was like, okay, the child will definitely have, if he has to make all the decisions. Of course not. But then if they have like some choices, at least some choices,
respect them.
they feel understood.
Exactly.
They feel
valued.
learned, and they feel that, you know, they also have some choice in this world. It's not a grown-up run world only.
Yeah,
and
so
as a kid,
my
they have
point there
individual.
was that they do not have to make the choice as far as their screen and social
Oh
media.
yeah,
of course,
definitely,
absolutely.
Yeah,
definitely.
so if it's a video game, it's a no, because you're not allowed to watch until you reach a certain
But then
age.
when you give them a reason
So-
that why not video game, why not this platform,
because
it's
again-
overstimulating.
But then you're giving them information that may not be required at this
No, but
age.
then-
Why
But
I
does
think-
she
No,
need to know?
it's
Again,
definitely required.
Everybody around them, you see children of similar age indulging in soft drinks, indulging in cold drinks, junk food, video games. Now, my son, I told him, okay, you can try this a bit. I was so scared of him falling into that loophole, but somehow, thank God, touch wood, he did not enjoy games.
Yeah.
He was he's like, this is just not my thing. I do not even want to have a look at it.
But on the other
So-
hand, if he would have liked, and he would
Exactly,
have
it
gone
was a
everywhere
double-edged
and
sword.
tasted.
It was
So
a double-edged
you risked
sword.
that for yourself.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
then
way-
also,
the way I approached was-
let me share my example. Like if your kid, you're not always around. They go to a birthday party. Now my son was not allowed to have sugar or soda or anything of that sort till the age of 3 and 4. What happened? Lockdown happened. We moved to our hometown. Their dadu dadis came. They were going to birthday parties. I was not part of that birthday party. He took a drink. He liked it, but he knows that in our house, this is not allowed. Occasionally, he might have it. So just because he tasted now, because oh my God, because why he tasted? Because it was a forbidden fruit. He was so forbidden that he was so curious that all of the other kids can try it. Why can't I try it? So he was like, "नहीं, मुझे तो try तो करना है." So he had, but he knows that, you know, when I'm at home, मेरे घर पे आने ही नहीं वाला है. All these things are not part of my lifestyle at all. I don't see my parents having it. We are not having it. We have no junk food at home. We're total fitness. So we, as parents, we're setting an example. The way, the lifestyle we are living, they are going to absorb and see it, and actually not much teaching is required then.
And the
absolutely.
way I approached or we approached was, you know, play a video game or build a video game. So interest was building a video game.
Very interesting.
That's one.
Exactly.
Number 2 was, today he's intrigued by personal finance because he's learned Python now, and if he learns finance, you know, he can do some algo trading. Now that is far-fetched thing. But the idea is that over a period of time, because of these conversations, he has been able to understand what is right, what is wrong.
So that's what he's not falling into that trap of I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
He is deriving his sense of validation from creating something.
Correct, because
And
the-
social media takes that away otherwise for a lot of us.
But if you do that modulation, I think, you know, that gap will reduce.
I feel that it is, you know, we are just bringing, I'm so sorry, but we are bringing so many, we bring social media as a replacement for a lot of other experiences.
Which we should
That
not.
replacement is happening, and that's very
that should
convenient for us as parents
Yes,
also.
absolutely.
For me to take out time because my child wants to go to the park, I am tired and I'm like, I have to supervise, I'm not going. Social media. So
That is
now
wrong.
for me, now I want to go, he doesn't want to go because he's got into the habit of ye zyada convenient hai.
Yeah.
Similarly, cold drinks. I think if you've, you know, how he didn't like it, because I'm sure that there is something else he liked more. Because that experience of tasting other things will give you more pleasure, and then you'll realize कि वो इतना interesting नहीं है. And I also feel that us as parents, something that we were talking about, where we were raised in a very different environment, and now we are overcompensating that we don't want to be those authoritarian parents, authoritative ones. I feel we've also given up too much, but at the same time I feel that just because some things are a norm doesn't mean they're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel that we as individuals and families do, as parents, have the authority to decide what is right, what is not, irrespective it's a norm or not. So while I'm so glad that you are able and your son has been able to use that, and for you also, because like you say that his accounts have been managed by you all, that's perfect. But I think a lot of parents are struggling because they might not be so aware of the perils this social media offers.
And also because most children are not on social media to either do coding or, you know, So most children are not, exactly. And I think we can all agree that parents are the anchors for children. The immediate environment for the child are the parents. Even if you're in a joint family, dadi kuch bol rahi hai, you know, uncle is saying something, we do it like this. So saying no doesn't mean you have to verbally say no. That no should be built into, like I said before, the rhythm of your family and your everyday experiences.
Explain that.
I never gave cold drinks to my children, but when they were older, 5, 6, 7 years, and they went to a wedding, they knew now they're allowed. And so they would wait the whole year round. And now this delayed gratification is something that is completely absent from our lives. Yeah, I mean, all due credit to the Australian government for taking this step, I think, because like I've said before, as a human race, we have been bombarded with something we're not capable of handling. With all due credit to the makers of these social media platforms, they are designed in a way for consumers to be addicted. So, so when adults are not able to save themselves, children are suffering, children's health is at stake. If a government steps forward to do this, I think it just it highlights the intensity of the problem. And I think it just brings it more into the awareness of adults around a child. I think that's a role that it plays, a ban like this. Having said that, how effective it is, and we already know how children have found ways around it to use VPN and access, the portals from another country, and that's bound to happen. Anything coercive, when you put, children will tend to find a way around it, and it's not ideal. And yet it's something. I think it's a step for the parents and the adults. Children might suffer more because they will gravitate towards finding access in other ways. So I think if parents of children step up and take ownership of the huge task of being responsible for their children in a way that they can protect them from something that is invading all of our lives, I think that is the way to go. But sometimes we're adults, and I think for us a little bit of coercion works to wake us up from our slumber, because we have also become numb to the effects of social media and screen use. So I think it's more a wake-up call for us with these kind of measures. And it might actually help Indian parents a lot, because Indian parents are also living in the same world and are not able to escape this. So yeah.
And I think the ban which is there, it's a fake ban as per me. Because there's a way to actually invade in. VPN lagao and you're done, you're there.
It's a reminder for the parents. I think it's just that. That's the role it's playing.
So where I'm coming from is, ideally it should not be a ban. We should put age filter content. The governments can speak to Instagram, Google, and ensure that the data or the content which is coming is first of all age specific. If I put a different example, which is the state in India which is liquor free or liquor ban state? Gujarat. What happened when they took up the first flight from Gujarat to Bangkok?
Everybody was drunk.
Yeah, just when they were boarded or the flight just took away, all the liquor was sold out. So what is the purpose of putting a ban? The idea is to get the data or get the content filtered by age. That's how I see, beat any country.
Okay. Yeah, I come from a different view again. So while I agree that putting a ban on something, there are people who are going to find out ways around it, and of course the curiosity will increase more. But I personally feel that when something is not there, you don't think about it. It's not an option anymore. So like TikTok in India is now a complete ban. There is no option, you cannot access, you don't have an account, and that chapter is closed forever.
Instagram replaced
So,
because
yeah,
replaced
I agree, I agree.
VPN, you can actually you can
Yeah,
access
but
TikTok.
not a lot of people would know how to go around it. So as many number of people would have used TikTok had it been officially there, compared to people who found out ways around it, it would be much lesser. So again, because I think even an age appropriate ban is difficult to use because it's just a tick that you're just checking that selection box there that yes, I'm 18 and above or 15 and above, whatever the age parameter is for the ban. So I feel, see, we've come from the path that has followed is that the Western culture adopted it, we followed it, and now they are banning it because they know the repercussions around it. So if we can learn something from them, we also learned how to use it for them. If we can learn the side effects and the damage it is already doing to the generations, and it is not just in India or in Australia or in the US, it is around the world. Even in Nordic countries, the data says that the maximum damage to mental health has been done in the year 2009 to the year 2015, and that was the year when iPhones came, smartphones came, Facebook came. 2012 Facebook acquired Instagram, and till about 2015. After that the damage is continuous, it's happening, but the sharp decline in mental health was at that time. So if something is not available, the damage is going to be less.
And at least for the children who are coming in now,
it's the most
if it doesn't
critical
exist
phase.
for them, it will be difficult to get the ones who are on it, off it. And for that, I think, again, coming back to it, I think the first and foremost is the parents, right? But not having it around surely would help when you have lesser choices. It's it's less overwhelming.
Adults will find their way through. They have multiple other platforms, and they've already gone through that emotional development, and I mean, they've achieved something in life where they can now spend probably time. You socialize, you drink, you smoke in, your friend circle, and nobody objects to it. So why there is so much discussion that why teens need not use social media? Because this is something that has happened and should not have happened. See, there has to be a reason. That is why the creators of these technologies, iPhone, Facebook, their children are not allowed to use it. There has to be a reason behind it. If it was so informative, so useful, the creators are not allowing their children to use. We all need to understand that it's
really
actually,
food for thought.
It's actually an addiction, and they know how to hook you up. They know that they have created the apps in a manner that you cannot escape.
It's like the ingredients in a pack of chips, There is something addictive there that gets you. So the inbuilt design is such that the young consumer will not be able to protect themselves. It will suck them in, and it will get the better. And there are so many, emotional health, mental health. The impacts, some of them are immediate and evident, but most of them are deep and long-lasting. And just because we cannot see the symptoms right then, like in COVID, everybody could see the symptom right there. Air pollution, how many people are really bothered? You don't see if it doesn't make you breathless, you don't, you think, okay, mujhe nahi hoga, but you're not going to be saved. Your child is, so just because you can't see the impact immediately in your child, it's not that it's not impacting them. And nowadays, apparently, it's become very cool. It's a new definition of coolness to express your depression. And a lot of these adolescent kids in the washrooms of schools get together and they cut themselves with a blade, especially the girls, over things like, my friend I saw yesterday got an iPhone 16, my parents are not buying it for me. That's cause enough. Again, withdrawal symptoms, if you take away from an addict something, they will have withdrawal symptoms.
Exactly.
So there is depression, there is anxiety, there is, lack of self-worth, even before they can develop their own perception of themselves, even before they can discover who they are. And adolescents do that in relation to other kids around them the same age, right? Even before they can do that, they have somebody else's perception of them, and they feel less not just about their appearance, and this is also the age when they become aware of their appearance. Vanity comes in for the first time during this 12 to
14.
Yeah,
That's true.
before the 5-year-old will not care whatever pants you put on unless you have made them conscious of it. But adolescents become keenly aware of their appearance. You will find girls standing in front of the mirror for 2 hours. Girls who had been tomboys until now, not cared about what they're wearing. Boys are doing that too. So it's not even gender, so diverse in terms of gender. But, so one is of course appearance, self-worth, self-image. Then there is also the damage that is happening from what somebody else has seen. Recently there was a parent who shared a child in 4th grade, would be what, how, 8, 9 years old? 9 years old. Was constantly going to the washroom to clean herself, to wash herself. Was talking about how she doesn't want to get married. Was having sleepless nights, and the parents were, they couldn't figure out. Until it was found out that the child had been exposed to content through a friend, because the child doesn't have a phone or access, but through a friend, highly sexualized content. Now, there is no way, like, we can't put them in a bubble, but can we at least not have them do that, exposed at home? Because emotionally, they're not ready to make sense of this sexualized content. Physically, they're not, their bodies haven't developed. But this is coming to them. Why do you think periods are happening at 8, 9 years of age now? Right. So everything is happening too soon and too much of it. And the question, I think, is, are we okay with it, knowing that this is the health of our children and their future that we're talking about? So, yeah.
I think also, will matter what is the environment at home. So, as you both said,
Of course, always.
When we look at that, when we're talking about a ban, and when we're talking about Australia banning it, what they're again doing is safeguarding and protecting the mage a lot. And when we talk about India also, right about the fact, I feel Australia as a country is trying to protect the childhood by not exposing them to things which, like how you said, you first expose them and then now, that's more of a reactive way of operating. Versus being more proactive about that, okay, these are going to be the harms. At this point in time, I don't think we all know that how can we actually restrict and moderate the content that social media shows. If there are restrictions, if there's moderation, I think then it's such a great tool. I know during COVID, there were kids who got together to arrange cylinders, oxygen cylinders, blood and everything. And social media worked beautifully for these young set of kids. These were 11, 12, first year students, right? They worked it well beautifully. But again, having said that, we are sitting here, we can talk about things, we understand how smartphones work, we understand how social media works, we know what Discord is. How many parents in India, if we look at the demographics of India, there are smartphones in the hands of people who probably do not have proper homes to live in. But you see them, they have phones with them, they have social media access to them. For a lot of them, right now, they see only things a convenient way out. They get happiness, convenient way out. So I feel if we look at the world at large, if we look at India as a country with its demographic that it has, I feel that that ban that Australia has, maybe we can also look at more stricter regulations till the time the apps have not been able to regulate their content. So till then, I think that app is essential. I think Meta was, there were conversations in the news last year that Meta was sued because mental health concerns for children was coming up. And I think now there is this new idea of that more regulated content on Instagram for kids under 14. Yeah, but again, we know there is a way around it. So till the time we cannot take care of the entire ecosystem, I feel till then that ban is essential so that we can actually do the damage control as much as we can and kind of give us that time to take care of it. So I feel we all sitting here are in that capacity to moderate, regulate, but we have no idea that there are so many people out there, there are so many people, parents out there who do not even know what their kids are up to with that social media.
Even know. And Instagram, so sometimes parents feel, oh, I know, my child tells me everything. I know, I can access, I follow their Insta and I can see. But they all have private accounts.
Yeah.
And most of their conversations are happening on Discord, and maybe there are other portals that have come up that children know of and we don't. So again, till the time children themselves become capable, and this is something, it's come in our generation. We are still trying to get used to it. So like you said, until there are regulations within the portals themselves, I think
that's a little more view that I have personally. I don't think so a ban or a complete a very regulated use of the app would work, because there are always workarounds that we are not targeting. The core problem is the kind of content that is being created. Why not penalize content creators who are creating such content which is not appropriate, not just for children? Even if you see something, even though no matter how beautifully you curate your algorithm, something absolutely obnoxious would pop up in your feed at times, which just spoils the taste in your mouth. Why not penalize such content creators? Why not completely ban coming out of such content which can be distasteful, which can be misinformation, which can be disinformation for children, which can be not appropriate for children? I think that is a larger root cause to be addressed. Absolutely. Because again, they will access, they would want to access, but then why not bring them the good side of it, the educational, the peaceful, the harmonizing side of it, rather than something that is not appropriate for them? I think that is the larger problem that we really need to address.
Absolutely, I totally agree to that actually. Having said that, I mean, when we talk about the Australia ban, I mean, so my brother was here from Australia just 2 days back. We saw him off last night. And I was just telling him that tomorrow I'm going for this discussion and we're talking about Australia ban. What is your thought on that? He said, really? Is there a ban? He's like, actually, Saurav, all the kids are using there. You just have to basically, select your age, and they are not asking for your license or your, ID card for that matter. So probably it is a ban. They have a good intention, but it's not effective. I guess if you want to really cut off, social media from children's life, it has to be done on so many levels and in a very aggressive way probably, that you have to think 2 ways ahead, that what kids can do next and how we can eliminate that. And of course, there will be people who will outsmart that as well. Like I said, VPN is there. My husband is a network engineer. He was like, I can tell you 10 ways, kids can do that. So can we completely eliminate? I don't think so. Should we not think about it? I again don't think so. We should definitely, I think it will definitely bring attention into people. Like people like us are here, are already aware of it, which is why we are here. We have given some ways social media access to our children, not exactly maybe YouTube, maybe Instagram, but we are very much aware, and which is why it's regulated, which is why probably it's safer for them. But the larger amount of people that are there in our country don't probably know about it, and we have to probably, the government or someone has to make more awareness around it, that how it can be so harmful, and you can just not hand out your phone with Instagram on it to your children like that, unattended, unregulated. Because I come from a small town, and in Ludhiana we were at a birthday party, and there were kids of my son's age, some were even smaller, and they were playing PUBG on their phones. And I was shocked. At that time, my kid had zero access to the screen, and I was like what is going on, Roblox and all these things. And then as a parent, of course, you do your duty of educating yourselves what is exactly PUBG, because I was totally, off it. I had no idea. Then I came across Roblox. I did my part of educating myself of how does it work before I, let him download an app. But the most part of our country, most people, most parents are simply unaware, and we have to bring about that awareness no matter what, if we want to protect the children. Of course, we can take care of our children because we are aware, but most part of the people are not aware. So yes, there has to be stricter laws, stricter rules, there has to be more regulation coming from Meta about the content, because sometimes even on restricted mode, sometimes the content with very graphic and that bloodshed and all of that comes in, and I'm like, oh my god, like if this is happening in restricted mode, what is happening when it's not restricted? So then even as a parent, I'm concerned. I mean, I have this conversation, but how many parents are having these conversations with their kids? Nobody knows.